Tiger fans, another week, another Harley Reid update, this time courtesy of Grock, who shot me through a message last night while we were doing the Monday night live show and during the Tigercast Player of the Year votes, which caught me off guard a little bit, and it actually stopped EJ and I in our tracks to discuss this. So I thought I would make a quick video about it, but before I go into what Grock had mentioned, Tom Morris today actually came out with a report of his own on SEN saying that, I suppose from the people that he's heard from in West Coast, that they feel like that Harley Reid's in a much better headspace now. He's feeling a bit more connected to the club and a bit more invested. And in Tom's view, that's grounds for him maybe staying, whether it's this year or next year. I also just want to mention within that article, it also says that now whether this means he wants to stay long-term or stay even for next year remains to be seen. So it's a little bit of hedging bets, which I fully get because there's a lot to play out, and we've done it too because there's a lot to play out. So I just wanted to make sure that people understood that the article that Tom Morris put out today wasn't categorically saying that he, as in Harley Reid, is staying at West Coast, just that there's feeling that he might stay. Just like we've got feeling of the opposite. So it's just one of those things that there's two different sources, two different bits of information, and people will just make of it what they will. So I just wanted to put that out there first, because I thought I've just seen a few comments around it. Now, in regards to the message from Grock, like I said, this came through last night. For those of you who are new to the show and maybe don't have a bit of a history on Grock and what he's been about and the info he's had, similar to Tiggs, they've both had some really good mail over the last, let's call it 7-8 years, however long we've been doing the show for. So in terms of some stuff in some recent memory from this particular source that Grock has that gave information that happened way ahead of time. So this person had mentioned to him that Jonty Fall was going to be our preferred forward target back in April, so well before the draft. He had heard that Baker and Bolton leaving almost all of last year, this source was telling Grock, was spot on about us trying to get both Taranto and Hopper when that was playing out, and called Kazitsky as a depth target at the end of 2022, 12 months ahead of everyone else. So they're just a couple of examples of things that this particular source Grock has brought to the table. So I just wanted to give context to it before reading out the information, so it kind of adds a bit of weight behind it. And as I said, there's plenty of stuff to still play out in the Harley Reid situation, but I just wanted to give context to it first. So with that being said, reading from the phone, Grock sent through last night that Eagles are apparently resigned to losing him and have now spoken to his manager to see which clubs are interested to find which has the best deal. Hearing that Reid is leaning towards us at this stage. I won't read out my replies because it's got a few swear words in it. Shocked swear words, not aggressive ones. And he came back saying, yep, I pretty much asked, is it the same source? That would be huge. He goes, yep, our competitiveness over the past month has us in front, given the makeup of the list. Geelong won't have cap space or picks, given they're likely to land Rao, which is a side piece. Reid doesn't want to go to Essendon for several reasons, culture and uncertainty around Scott's future. If they don't make finals, then that throws a bit of chaos into the air, I suppose, from a culture standpoint. And then there's the Dusty news as well, which the Dusty news is alluding to what Adam Uze was asked about in his press conference last week about Dusty coming on as a mentor and some developmental stuff and things like that. And as we spoke about last week too, that would play a huge role in luring potential prospects like Harley Reid or whoever else it might be across to the club, giving them the chance to work alongside or under Dustin Martin as a huge carrot. They're both Puma athletes. I've always been led to believe they've had pre-existing conversations and relationships. I'm not sure what the conversations were about, obviously, but they definitely are well aware of each other, well before this moment in time. So where does that leave everything? Well, like I said, there's still a lot to play out, and the Geelong part, getting Rao, obviously plays a little bit of a part, but a play for this year doesn't seem to make sense for Geelong, like we've touched on previously. They've only got, I think, pick 14. They've obviously got some very publicised money under the table issues, which landing someone like Reid, I think, would reignite that very quickly, and it would be a gobsmacking decision for them to do that. But in terms of us being ahead in that race, and like I said, this is all on the assumption that he wants to leave this year. And like I've said before, if he wants to stay next year and then leave, then I think that puts us out of the picture, and I think it brings in a Geelong. It brings in a Hawthorn, a Collingwood, other clubs who can kind of get some stuff together by the time that plays out. So I think it makes complete sense why we would be a preference certainly for West Coast, given the currency we have. And if they have any inkling that he wants to leave, like I mentioned in the last video, that they are best to pull the trigger now to get maximum value, which might look like 3 first-rounders spread out across 3 years. It might look like 2 first-rounders and a player. Who knows? That's obviously the hard part to play out too. But just really interesting that, yeah, that according to Grock's man in the know, that we're front runners in the sense that if he wants to leave, that we're right in the mix. So there's your Harley Reid update. Like I said, we're not saying it's certain. We're not saying he's locked in to come to Richmond, as Tom Morris isn't saying that he's locked in to stay at West Coast. It's just passing on the information that's been heard, and then you can kind of do with it what you will. But as I've always maintained, I'm just glad that we are at least writing it into our eyeballs and having a crack at this and trying to improve our list dramatically. Based on our on-field performances so far, you would have to say it feels like we're tracking ahead of where we should be from a developmental and a results point of view. Even though we've lost some close games, we could have had 6 wins by now, which is remarkable given that we were slated not to win a game. And that plays a part when you're trying to get players across. Believe me, it plays a part. And if we were able to get Harley Reid, if he was wanting to leave West Coast, then I think that would fast track us another 6, 12, 14 months potentially, having someone of his quality in the midfield. But yeah, until he comes out and puts pen to paper or makes a decision, all of this is going to keep adding fuel to fire the longer he goes unsigned or uncommitted to the West Coast. But yeah, let us know what you think in the comments below. I know we ask it a bit, but would you be happy after seeing Harley Reid in a yellow and black jumper last week, mind you? Do you think it suits him? Do you think he'd be a good fit for us? Do you think that if we got him, it would progress us as a club in terms of our results on field? I'm keen to hear what people think on that, because I definitely understand the counter argument about getting more draftees in. I think we're in the unique position, though, that after bringing in 8 draftees last year, I think you can afford to use a couple in a creative manner to help propel your list forward. But plenty to discuss, plenty to think about. That's the update. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And until the next update, go Tigers.